Hey there, curious minds, and welcome back to What Is, the show where we peel back the layers on life's most intriguing questions. Today, we're tackling something that defies gravity, floats on pure air, and often looks like it's just having a really good time. We're talking about the magnificent, the marvelous, the utterly unique hovercraft. What is a hovercraft? Well, at its most basic, it's a vehicle that travels over a surface, be it land or water, while supported by a cushion of air. Think of it as a giant, incredibly powerful air hockey puck. But instead of gliding across a table, it's zipping across anything from mudflats to ocean waves. It doesn't truly fly, not like a plane, but it certainly doesn't roll like a car or displace water like a boat. It just hovers. Pretty neat, huh? The principle behind it is remarkably simple. A large fan or series of fans push air downwards, creating a high-pressure air cushion beneath the craft. This cushion lifts the vehicle a few feet off the ground, reducing friction almost entirely, allowing it to glide with incredible ease over obstacles that would stop a traditional vehicle dead in its tracks. And then, another set of propellers, usually at the rear, provide the forward thrust. It's like a boat and an airplane had a baby, and that baby decided it preferred to float on a cloud. But while the concept might sound like something out of a futuristic movie, the idea of floating on air has been, well, in the air for centuries. Seriously, back in the early 18th century, the Swedish scientist and visionary Emanuel Swedenborg, yes, the same guy known for his spiritual philosophy, actually sketched out designs for an air cushion vehicle. His contraption looked a bit like an inverted boat with a massive, manually operated fan on top. It was quite literally a man-powered air pump. A fascinating concept, though perhaps a little light on the hovering and heavy on the exhausted Swede. Fast forward to the late 19th century, and British engineer Sir John Thornycroft patented a design for a boat hull lubricated by air bubbles to reduce drag. Again, not quite hovercraft territory, but people were clearly getting closer to cheating friction. The dream of a frictionless ride was slowly building momentum, one slightly unpractical invention at a time. It's almost like the universe was slowly nudging humanity towards its destiny, saying, hey, what if you just put some air underneath it? The actual breakthrough, the moment the hovercraft truly took flight, came much later, in the 1950s, thanks to the ingenious mind of British engineer Sir Christopher Cockerell. Working in his boatyard in Norfolk, Cockerell was trying to figure out how to reduce drag on ships. He started experimenting by blowing air under a coffee tin using a vacuum cleaner. Yes, an actual coffee tin. You can almost picture him there, muttering to himself, right, if this coffee tin can float, then maybe the world can too. His initial experiments were, shall we say, charmingly low-tech. He even used kitchen scales to measure the lift generated beneath his small prototypes. He discovered that by creating a curtain of air around the edge, he could contain the air cushion more effectively. This meant less air was needed to maintain lift, making the idea suddenly, wonderfully, practically viable. From coffee tins and kitchen scales, a revolution was born. Cockerell's vision became a reality in 1959 with the launch of the SRN-1. The world's first practical hovercraft, it looked a bit like a giant, slightly confused turtle with a propeller stuck on its back. And on July 25th of that year, it made history, crossing the English Channel from Calais to Dover in just over 2 hours, carrying none other than Sir Christopher Cockerell himself. Imagine the headlines. Man crosses channel on a big fan. It was a monumental achievement, proving that this peculiar air-cushioned vehicle wasn't just a novelty, but a genuine mode of transport. The 1960s and 70s were the heyday for hovercraft development, particularly in big commercial ventures. The SRN-4, also known as the Mountbatten class, became a familiar sight, ferrying passengers and cars across the English Channel. These enormous beasts, some over 180 feet long, capable of carrying 400 passengers and 60 cars, were like floating garages. They offered a unique experience, sometimes bumpy in rough seas, but undeniably fast and, let's be honest, pretty cool. They were the rock stars of cross-channel travel, until the Channel Tunnel came along and ruined everyone's fun. Well, not everyone's, but definitely the hovercrafts. Beyond passenger ferries, hovercrafts found their true calling in specialized roles. Their ability to transition seamlessly between land and water, ice, snow, mud, and even quicksand, made them indispensable for search and rescue operations, particularly in shallow wetlands or frozen rivers, where boats or conventional vehicles simply couldn't go. The military loved them too, especially for amphibious assault operations, allowing troops and equipment to go from ship to shore without needing to worry about pesky things like beaches or docks. Today, you might not see them everywhere, and there's a good reason for that. Hovercrafts, while brilliant at what they do, have some downsides. They can be noisy, they guzzle fuel, and their sensitive skirts require a fair bit of maintenance. Building and operating them isn't cheap either. So, for your average daily commute, they're probably not going to replace your car or the bus anytime soon. Imagine trying to park one of those in a multi-story car park. Total nightmare. But that doesn't mean the hovercraft is a relic. Far from it. They continue to thrive in their niche roles, from Coast Guard services in remote areas to tourist rides that give you a taste of that unique, floaty sensation. New, smaller, more efficient electric hovercrafts are even emerging, promising a quieter, greener way to glide across diverse terrains. The spirit of that little tin can on a vacuum cleaner lives on. So, from Emanuel Swedenborg's ambitious sketches, through Christopher Cockerell's brilliant coffee tin experiments, to the mighty cross-channel ferries, the hovercraft stands as a testament to human ingenuity. It's a vehicle that dared to defy convention, choosing to float on air instead of rolling or sailing. It's a machine that reminds us that sometimes the best way to get from A to B isn't by following the path, but by creating your own, literally on a cushion of air. And that, my friends, is what a hovercraft is. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more fascinating topics, and tell us in the comments what you want us to explore next. Did you ever ride a hovercraft? We'd love to hear your experiences. Stick around and keep asking what is. We'll see you next time.